Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. With that, I'd like to introduce my exciting guest. Arthur Weitzman is a serial entrepreneur, 6-time serial entrepreneur. He's passionate about building and growing companies. He's got over 25 years with entrepreneurial experience and a passion for applying technology to improve business. He's here to share his insights and leadership, business strategy, and Immerse's e-commerce cutting-edge platform. Ooh, this sounds very interesting. He's managed over 6 companies, as I said, with 25 years worth of experience. Prior to that, he spent 6 years in management consulting, implementing technologies for various industries. So Immerse is a revolutionizing retail commerce platform connecting brands and customers seamlessly. Our D2C SaaS platform offers shoppable video calls, dynamic chat engagements, and live streaming events, all aimed at delivering an in-store experience online. With that, I'd like to bring Arthur. Hi, Arthur. How are you today?
Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Good. So tell me a little bit about it. So I know you've had an incredible journey. So you were in Tashkent. How was it living in Tashkent, by the way?
You know what? It was beautiful, actually. I was there since I was born till I was almost 18. So great memory, childhood, growing up. Still have friends there. It's a very warm country, very welcoming country. When I grew up there, it was part of Soviet Union. After I left, it broke off into independent country, which is Uzbekistan now. But growing up, we primarily spoke Russian as a primary language, and it was a melting pot of probably 20 different nationalities at least. So it was very great. It was a great environment to grow up in.
Now, how about the food? Did you have a lot of good food there?
Oh my God.
Because I know
I know why you're asking. I know why you're asking, because you've tried it.
Oh yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean, I love
the
it.
food in Uzbekistan is amazing, and it's in US. It's hard to find. If anybody's listening, look for Uzbek food or Central Asian food. It is mind-boggling good, and nothing like you've tried before.
And do you eat it now?
I do, and I cook it too.
Oh, there you go. That sounds great. So so you grew up there. What made you decide to leave?
You know what? I was almost 18. My brother's 22. My parents wanted to leave the Soviet Union 8 years prior to, and borders were closed. So as soon as the borders opened up, this is when the famous perestroika and Gorbachev and Reagan started peace talks, and that's one of the first stipulation that Reagan put on the table, was to allow people to leave again. And we had family in US, and that's how my family ended up in Dallas, because my aunt lived in Dallas, and my journey just started brand new when I got to Dallas at the age of 18.
So how was it coming over? How did it feel once you got over here?
It was overwhelming. Everything was different. Growing up, I've told this story before. Growing up in Soviet Russia was like, from business perspective, was like going to DMV every time. Anywhere you go, everything's owned by the government. Everything's run by the government. Nobody really thinks about efficiencies or systems or customer service per se. So it's coming here was eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, I remember going into the bread store in Moscow, and there was one loaf of bread, and the lady was like, "Do me a favor to give it to me." And it was one of those black breads, but I think that one was probably there for a week because it was like a brick. You couldn't even eat it. It was like literally a brick. And I remember going to myself, this is really sucks, because I am starving. This back in 92.
What year was that? 92? Yeah.
Yeah. It was October, the wall came down, and then February 23rd, 92, I was there. And I remember going to Arbat Irish House in Moscow, and they had
Yeah.
food there, but the bread was like $5 for a loaf of bread. And I said to myself, I don't care if it's $100. It doesn't matter.
You're
I'm
hungry.
hungry. I didn't
Yeah.
eat for 2 days. And then I wanted to make sure I had good water because some of the water was, you had to be careful about the water.
Mm.
It wasn't because it was bad if you were Russian, but it was bad if you were a foreigner potentially. And so
Right.
I ended up getting bottled water, and I was so happy to have. I'll never forget. I had a ham sandwich with the cheese on it, and I got some Snickers bars because they had those
Wow.
sitting there. And I thought I hit the jackpot. And if I
There
did
you
that
go.
here in the States, I never ate like that. But when I was there, yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, a lot of beauty. So it took gut coming over, and then so did you go to university here, or did you just start with Ernst and Young?
No, so I didn't speak any English, so it took me about a year to figure my way around, start learning language, and I've changed probably, I don't know, 8, 12 jobs in the first year and a half. And then I went to a technology school. I took a government loan, 6 months school, learned how to program. And when I exited the school, I got really lucky. I went to job fair and EY desk was there, and it just happened to be that the skill I learned in that school, the programming skill, is what they were looking for a specific project. It was an amazing luck. So I was not even 21. They were making fun of me because I was not. When I was going to the parties with my comrades, I couldn't drink legally. So
Oh,
yeah.
but did
Um,
you like it? Was it interesting?
oh my God, yeah. The EY really gave me my education when it comes to business. I've learned a lot from it. Especially when you build systems, you 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 work with operations and you work with business analysts and try to figure out. You take a process and say, how do we make it better? How do we use technology to improve the process? And that's honestly it became my DNA. I've been doing this since then, no matter what I do from
So
business
we went
perspective.
down through and do it. When you go down through and do it, you stayed there 4 years. What made you decide to leave?
I had a newborn, and I was on a fork to make a manager or get out. And with a newborn in the family and working 60+ hour weeks and traveling a lot, I decided that's probably not a good thing for a new family. So I decided to leave, and I did my own consulting for about a year and a half, and then started my first business after.
And that was VH. You worked at VHA, right, as a project
Right.
manager.
Yeah. So VHA hired me out of EY, and then half a year later, I told them I wanted to leave and start my business journey. And they're like, I was part of an intricate project that was very important to the company. So they asked me to stay, and I stayed there for another year and a half as a consultant. Made a lot of money. I made like $100 an hour, and this was a lot back in the days.
Well, that's great. That should have helped
Yeah,
your
so,
family.
so that built my cash cushion and allowed me to buy a house, and allowed me to start a new business. And the 5 businesses I've started, or 6 businesses I've started, have all been self-funded. So I'm truly, grinder, starting from scratch and trying to get to cash flow positive as quickly as possible. Um, except for the last one. The last one is a different story altogether. The immerse.
And so you went down through that. You did the Dallas Memory International, internet commerce selling computer parts. How was
Yep.
that? That was that. Excuse me, 96 wasn't bad, but 2003 wasn't so interesting, right?
Well, I sold the company before 2003. Yeah, it was good because we started as a wholesale distributor of computer components, CPU and memory. So basically buying and selling in bulk to shops that were building computers. Back in those days, people were still building computers instead of
Yeah, I don't
buying
know why did
laptops.
that stop, Arthur. Why? Because I remember you used to get custom computers. You could find them everywhere. CompUSA. I mean, there was
Yeah,
all these parts. What happened? Why did it stop?
it became a commodity, and became cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. It was harder to make margin on that business. Alien Computers, which still exists, was one of my clients. But they had a niche. They were building computers for gaming, and gaming was just at the very beginning, early stage, and putting powerful CPU, powerful memory in those, and video boards into those computers was how they made the name for themselves, and we were actually a supplier for them. So, but yeah, majority of the companies that were building computers just couldn't compete with Dells of the world at the end of the day.
That's amazing. Okay, so you did that. You went from Dallas, you sold that. And as you're going down through your journey, and you've got a wide journey, you know, you went down through and did Limo Anywhere. What is that all about?
So before Limo Anywhere, I started a company called 360 Limo with my close friend. This started as an experiment to see if we can put a mid-market transportation company, corporate transportation company together. The company started 5 days before 9/11. As you can imagine, we put a lot of work into putting the package together, establishing the company, corporation, marketing materials, you name it. And then 5 days before, opened 5 days before 9/11, and then the whole world got paralyzed in corporate travel. There was no travel. So we immediately kind of looked at this and said, how can we change? What can we do? How can we pivot? Or how much time do we give this before we close doors? So we gave it 6 months. It was a 6-month commitment, and we said we're going to figure out how to get every dollar possible within 6 months so we can get to cash flow positive. Well, what we've learned quickly is that majority of companies that were doing transportation were doing it locally only. So they would develop corporate clientele in their local business, in their local market, and when somebody is picked up to fly somewhere, they still need transportation. So we started farming out anything outside of Dallas to companies like us, and started developing our own vendor network that would service our clients, and that really skyrocketed the company. So right out of the gate, we started going, 50 to 100% year-to-year growth, and the company is still active. Amazingly enough, it's 22 years in business.
And do you still own that company?
Still own the company. It's a what people in business call a cash cow. Established business management in place. I'm still involved on a very high level from leadership standpoint of view, but it's a self-sustained business.
And how big is it?
It's about $20 million in revenue.
That's great.
And we changed the business model. Like 7 years into it, we changed the business model, got rid of all the cars, and became just a management company. And now we're doing this worldwide company called Move. We renamed the company MUV. So the website is movepeople.com, and our primary business is corporate travel and pharmaceutical travel, meetings and events.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so then you went to Vistage Worldwide. What was that all about?
Vistage is like it's a CEO organization, similar to EO and what's the other one there? It's a franchise worldwide platform for CEOs to get together once a month. So we have a chapter of 15 guys and girls that own companies, and we get together once a month. We have a chair that leads the companies, leads the process. So it's issue processing, it's checking in, it's thinking outside the box, it's having speakers. So it's not a business, it's an association that I love being part of. I've been doing that for 7 years.
So you've gone down through that. Then how did you come up with? You've got your Vistage environment, but how did you come up with Immerse? What made you decide to come up with that? And tell us a little bit about it.
So you asked about Limo Anywhere. Limo Anywhere came out of a need. I was in the industry through Move, and somebody approached me with an idea to write a SaaS platform for limousine operators. And we looked at the market, and there was only one other competitor. Everything else was client server environment applications, and they were poorly designed, old and not very effective. So I put some money in it and started working with that individual. His name is Max Baltzev. He was really running the company. I was helping him from business perspective because I understood the business. I put some money in, and we developed the software, became largest software provider in the industry and as a SaaS platform, sold it to a roll-up 7 years later. So that's an interesting journey. I put in $15,000. I was prepared to put 50. $15,000 took us to cash flow positive, and Max did an amazing job running the company and selling the software. And we sold it for $7.5 million to roll up.
And you can't beat that.
It was just owned between the two of us. Yeah.
No, that's great. And so you went down, you did that. And so as you've gone down through this journey, so what's going on with Immerse and what problems are you solving?
So Immerse, yes, how I got into it. I came into Immerse as an investor first. The original concept was to build a marketplace using video technologies to connect service providers to their customers. So if you were a tutor, for example, and you were teaching in your 5-mile radius, you could basically grab a channel or build yourself a channel, Zoom-like environment, but be able to charge per seat per lesson. And the idea was great. The execution was not. It was too early from technology standpoint of view. Basically, 2.5 years later, I took over the company and repurposed the software we've built for that into something else. So we saw an opportunity in the market right around that time. Influencer marketing was being built as a business, and I saw how they're doing promoting products with pictures through Instagram. And I thought if we can build a video platform like YouTube, long format, where they can talk about the products, unveiling, kind of like QVC style, where you can watch the show and buy the product and comment on it, kind of like QVC.com actually. So we built that, and so we call it democratized QVC, and started rolling up customers into that. And then in the course of doing that, I met a CEO of a company called Lucchese. Lucchese is an Italian name, built by an Italian immigrant, 135-year-old company. They make cowboy boots. They're the best on the market in cowboy boots, or Western wear specifically. So at a lunch with the president of the company, we talked about influencer marketing, videos, and then he said, listen, my biggest problem right now is that we do really good. We're a wholesale company that's moving towards direct to consumer. That's our journey for the next 7 years. We want to be 90% direct to consumer, 10% wholesale. Right now, we're upside down. We're 90% wholesale. So they had some stores, and they did a really good job in stores. When you would walk in as a client, you would be greeted with a big smile, and just taken care of because the people were knowledgeable. He said, we do really well. We converted about 25% on the walk-in traffic in stores. Our website, however, is a good-looking website, and we keep putting money into this, but it converts at 0.5 point. Why is that? And he said the only human-to-human connection we have on the website is support, and people gravitate towards that because they want that human-to-human connection. But these are the wrong people to answer calls because they need help with sales. They need help with choosing items. He said if we could have a technology that connects the web traffic to a human capital that's already in the store, trained salespeople, trained to do sales, compensated on sales, that would be magical. So that was the big aha moment for us to say, okay, QVC-like videos are great, and it's a good way to produce content and to have shareable, shoppable videos. But this is really a whole new level of engagement. This is one-on-one. So we started building that. We signed them up as a client, as an MVP client, started building the platform for them for that one-to-one connection. And took them live January of 2020, so just a few months before pandemic hits. Then pandemic hits, all the stores shut down, and e-commerce obviously goes into high gear. So they actually used our platform to sell. That's the only way they could sell. And we had an amazing KPIs. I mean, average order values shot up. The conversions were north of 30%. Client satisfaction was like 4.7 out of 5 stars. I mean, if this was a perfect picture scenario for any MVP, this was it. So we took that, we raised money from a chairman of the board and one other individual who are on the board of Lucchese. They put $1 million because they saw what we did, and we took that money. We built the SaaS platform, the full SaaS platform. So that's really how Immerse started as a full live commerce platform. So we have both. We keep adding offerings, and now it leads us to kind of AI, where this is going. So,
and how about that? How's the market, and what's the future of Immerse?
So the future of the Immerse is that the H2H, as marketers call it, that human-to-human connection is still is important no matter what technologies are ahead of it. The technologies are being used to facilitate that call or that connection or that interaction. Nothing more. You still need to have a human. AI is great, and we're using it. We're building AI to really ask 3 questions: who is calling, what they need, and who's the best person to help them. Nobody likes being, talking to chat with silly questions. And nobody likes phone lines that, press 1 for this phone trees and just getting to an agent that cannot help you and then being dropped off. We've all experienced bad customer service. Bad customer service really became a norm in the last 5 years, unfortunately. So we're fixing that. We're fixing that with our technology. We're connecting the person in need with an expert as quickly and efficiently as possible, answering some automated questions on the way if possible. But the goal is to connect that person to a human specialist and help them with the transaction.
Well, it sounds like you're moving in the right direction with it, Arthur, and you've done, phenomenal job getting it to where it is. So for those startups that are out there that are just getting started, what can you tell them and in terms of what the experience is like? You've done 6 companies, you have had quite a bit of success. Tell them a little bit about it. So what should they look for, and how do you keep the faith?
Okay, so a couple of things. The first 5 companies I started, my goal was to get to cash flow positive as quickly as possible. With Immerse, I was taken to a wrong direction because I had money. The first 5 companies started with, immigrant mentality, scratch, get every dollar worth, etc., etc. When I started Immerse, I was in a different space. I've had money that I've never had before, right? So instead of sticking to my core and getting to cash flow positive, at least on unit economics, I just poured money into this building, and that was my biggest mistake in the business that I've learned. I paid a lot of money for. That was very, very much an education that cost me a lot of money.
So your thing is stay profitable, go to profitability as fast as you can.
At least on unit economics. What I mean by that is that make sure that your product is needed early on. Make sure you can sign up customers who are using your product. Make sure your product has profitable unit economics, meaning that whatever that time spent or something bought or sold or whatever that is, have enough margin to pay for the business expenses and leave you some money at the end of the day. That's your net profit margin. So understanding books, I'm learning more and more from other businesses that CEOs don't know how to build chart of accounts. They don't know how to what's the difference between item on the balance sheet versus item on P&L. So educate yourself on financials. It's really important. You have to know your numbers.
Yeah. So no, it's great. And how do people get a hold of you? So if they want to reach out to you and talk, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
LinkedIn. I'm always open. My information is there. Our website is immerse.live. There's a chat. I monitor that chat all the time, even though I have other people that do that too. Being close to customers and being close to products, to the product is really important. That's another key point I would like to stress, is that stay close. Don't just farm it out and hope it works. You have to be close to your customers. So yeah, Immerse.live is our website. There's a chat on that. That's easy way to get in touch with me on LinkedIn.
Sounds great. Arthur, thanks for taking your time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And thanks to all my viewers for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay tuned for another exciting edition on Thursday of GSD Presents. Stay happy.
Thanks for having me.
Safe, and stay healthy, Arthur. It's good seeing you. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. And for those that don't tune in, have a happy holiday season. Take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Thank you.